afternoon. We're here live at Brandon, the Brandon Hillsborough Community College campus. We've got the president,
Carlos Soto.
Yes, the president.
Welcome.
of this beautiful institution. With a lot of coders. I was going to call them hackers, but I don't want to start off with a term that might appear derogatory, although we're at a hackathon. And that's what's so exciting. We're at the very first county hackathon. And actually, the brain behind this first concept, he just got up to leave. I guess he's going to register. But it was a student that I met at the University of South Florida. And that's what's so cool about being here on the campus of HCC, because we've got students from HCC, we've got students from the University of South Florida. We should have some UT students from the University of Tampa, and others, even some high school students have expressed an interest in competing and getting involved in really kind of reforming our government, taking tech applications and applying it to government. We've got some challenges that we're going to be presenting to these very intrepid souls back behind us. And then they're going to be working through the weekend, and on Sunday at 6 o'clock, there's going to be all sorts of awards and prizes, all very exciting. And we're going to, from this beginning, I think, kind of turn the corner on how our government and technology and our citizens work together to solve cool problems right here in Tampa Bay. And that's what makes it so cool. We've got Ken Evans from Startup Monkey and half a dozen other things who's sitting here with me, Joy Randall, who is our small business advisor, startup advisor, and has started many, many companies. And then again, we have the president of HCC. And I want to turn to you, sir, to say, first off, thank you very much for allowing us to be on your beautiful campus.
Well, it's a pleasure to welcome you to campus, and I'm pretty delighted and pretty excited about this. You know, the whole idea of potentially bringing unconventional solutions to conventional problems, something that's very attractive to me. And when you put together a whole bunch of folks with a lot of creative energy, a lot of skill sets, I think county government is going to be in for a pleasant surprise. So welcome.
Thank you, thank you. I had a meeting this morning with a gentleman who's started up a company called U-Nation. And why I bring this up is just because he's just one of so many individuals that I wasn't even aware of until recently, who are right here in the Tampa Bay area. They were employing some really incredibly smart people, paying them great salaries to do some exciting and interesting things that you would think were being done in Silicon Valley. And I want to say and ask, Joy, because I know that you fly all over the country.
Right.
Does Tampa Bay have the talent here to provide the employers, the tech employers, with the people they would need to run their companies?
Yes, I mean, I think they definitely do. We've got a lot of people. I think one of the bigger challenges we have is, and a really good reason for events like this, is a lot of them don't know each other, right? So I was talking to someone earlier today, and we were discussing sort of what's needed to create that. And if you look at communities that have been very successful at building lots and lots of startups, you see commingling across different university students. You have the entrepreneurs who come, who've done it a couple of times, people like me and like Ken, and they come back and they get more students, they bring those people together, and you get these very diverse groups of people who form these companies. So one of the challenges we have here is there's not as many things like this going on where, the students at USF know the students at USF, the students at UT know the students at UT, right? And then you've got Ringling, and you've got law schools here, we've got Stetson, we've got all the other things. So there's a lot of diversity in the education system here, and if we can start to bring those people together at events like this, then people from the business community will come back in and take a look at that, and it kind of all grows organically in the end.
One of the things I wanted to do when I first started all these startup activity and tech activity was see if we could get Google to come to Tampa. And Ken was like, forget Google, you want to bring them, but that's not where you start. He used to come to all the meetings, the board meetings, Board of County Commission meetings, and throw tomatoes as we would sit up there talking about how we're going to create jobs. And our economic development staff would say, don't worry about that. We're chasing these big whales, and we're going to bring these big whales to Tampa Bay. And Ken was like, that's not how you do it. Ken, you are part of the hashtag EDI2. If you want to learn more about EDI2, just hit the hashtag EDI2 on your Twitter, and it'll take you right to a whole lot of information. But Ken, you were kind of the driving force behind the creation of the EDI2 concept, working with our local startups. Why?
Because that's not how you do it. You do it grassroots. That's how tech grows. That's how a lot of jobs grow, whether they're high tech, high growth, or high-tech, low growth, they start with the individual. They start with a person or a group of individuals that are out to solve a problem. That's what's behind the hackathon today. It's starting with problems, starting with data, and figuring out what you can do. Hacker is not a derogatory term. It just means someone who looks at a problem and figures out an interesting way to solve it. There have been hackers as far back as there has been technology, and they go from technology to technology. But the idea is to be more product-centric, to be more problem-centric. Figure out what you can do, sometimes with technology, sometimes with new processes and new programs, but figure out how to solve problems. And that's what slowly evolves into a tech ecosystem. We all talk about wanting to be a tech hub, and everyone wants to be the Silicon blank of something, and it's just not realistic. And you look at all these activities that are characters of more mature tech areas and say, well, we just need to replicate those. And that's not how you do it. You do it by the individuals, the technical individuals and the management individuals that come together to form companies. It's not all a group of 20-somethings. It's not all a group of 50-somethings. It's a diverse group of people that all coalesce around a problem and create some products, create a company, and ultimately create jobs and wealth out of that. And that's what we want to see. And you do that hundreds and thousands of times over, and every once in a while one of those is a breakout. That's where you get your Google. That's where you get your Facebook. You don't bank on those. You hope that you get one in a haystack type of situation. But what you do is, by hitting a lot of singles and doubles and not swinging for the fence every single time, you get a lot of good, solid tech companies. They cross-pollinate. People leave jobs. There's lots of churn. And you talk to the economic development people. They don't want high churn. Right. They don't actually want high wages. Because if you have a high-wage environment, you have a lot of churn. You have people jumping jobs, but you also are drawing more people into the area to work in those jobs, to take on the higher skill challenges, and to grow those products and grow those companies. That's the environment you want to get, and you don't get it by just bringing in one big company, cutting the ribbon, and saying, ta-da.
Well, you talked about the hacker community. You talked about solving problems. I have a hacker at the table. Everybody, to turn over here. This is Luke Munn. Luke Munn, when you say hello.
Hello.
I met Luke Munn. He's a student at the University of South Florida. I met him through the hackathon the city of Tampa had. And when when they were done, I was talking about how we can get some people together that can help us work on some basic problems that were related to one of the boards I sit on, HEART. And it's the organization which is responsible for providing transit. I wanted some people to ride with me on the bus and see how if we could apply some tech applications to the bus. So Lukeman took me up on it. And how many students do we have? You remember Lukeman that came along with us?
Probably 10.
Yeah, we had about 10 students that came, rode the bus for about an hour or so, and then they sat down and they put together a business plan, talked about some things that we might be able to do to make it easier for people to track your bus, just apps that would be useful for the tech community. But then he invited me to a hackathon he had at USF, and I was so impressed with this young man and with what he was doing. I thought, you know what, I'll bet you there are Lukemans at the USF campus, there are Lukemans on your campus.
Yeah, they are.
UT. And so, I mean, why are you interested in this? Just tell us a little about yourself and why you're interested in, this type of work.
It's just an opportunity to create things, build things. I mean, you see problems and you solve them. For example, one problem I have in my life is riding the bus at USF. I've recently been working on an app for that, for myself mainly, just to...
So you're solving a problem for yourself?
Yes.
That's the way it starts.
You know? That's right.
Now, do you work for anyone?
Right now, no. I mean,
have you?
Yes, I used to work for Spark as a full-stack developer.
And say that again, please?
At Spark, the advertising agency.
Spark. Really?
Yeah.
Cool. And now how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
21.
Okay, so he's 21 years old. He's already worked for a company. He's going to have many opportunities in the future, I'm sure. And now, do you intend on staying in this field?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you intend on staying in Tampa?
Yeah, I'd like to.
You'd like to. What's the key? What's the condition?
Jobs.
Dr. Soto.
Interesting jobs.
All right, your students, when they graduate from HCC, they want to work.
You're going to ask 1,000 of the students here, and you ask them, are you going to stay in the community? They're going to say, yeah. Guess what's going to keep them here? Jobs that pay decently. Okay, come on. It's a basic need for everybody.
So you're producing the work. You're producing a trained workforce.
We're producing a trained workforce. We're also producing a workforce that's going to move on to, and primarily USF. That's our number one marketplace for our graduates to go.
Really? So you feed them to USF?
We feed them. We have a lot of good relationships with USF. Our campus here has focused really tightly with USF in terms of the College of Engineering. We have a lot of major externally funded projects that we co-run, and so I want to see a world full of engineers and computer scientists and scientists of all kinds, and this is a fertile community for creations.
Dr. Soto, why don't you tell them about the cool stuff that you guys are doing with the 3D printing? You guys have some cool stuff here.
That's one aspect. 3D printing, that's the hot buzzword and stuff. We've been experimenting, and we teach young men and women in our engineering tech program the programming that's needed in order to produce stuff through the 3D printer, and it's a skill set that eventually everybody's working in engineering of one kind or another in manufacturing is going to have to pick up. And so when you talk about that whole knowledge base industry, that's a knowledge-based industry, and you need certain skill sets, and we're preparing young men and women to do that.
It's pretty interesting. I was at MIT, and I was talking to Joey Ito, who runs their innovation program, right? And so Joey actually said, and he's arguably probably one of the brightest people in the world.
Pretty bright.
It is,
bright.
and it's interesting because he's a dropout and he runs the innovation program at MIT, which is pretty funny. But he was talking about he believes within the next 10 years, most households will have 3D printers in their home.
To be honest with you, I believe it, and it wouldn't surprise me if it happens in the next 5 or 6 years.
Right.
I mean, this stuff is totally crazy cool.
It's pretty cool. I mean, and kind of what's going on there. So, I mean, I think it's pretty interesting because when I was here the first time, you were showing me, the wrench that they had created with the 3D printer.
And all the multi-gear devices.
Would that be a
that,
disruptive technology, a 3D printer?
Oh, it absolutely is.
It is.
Oh,
definitely.
yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely.
Where the Economic Development Corporation has its MetaFuture 2023 in May, which is about disruptive technology in the healthcare field, and Tampa Bay really wants to kind of take the lead in disruptive technology, which from there took us to USF to talk to the students about getting involved in this, and then this morning had a great conversation with some University of Tampa students. We're like, hey, we want to sit down with the UT students. We're business majors, a lot of us at UT. USF's got life sciences, they get a school of engineering and such. Let's work together and see if we can't, come up with some cool ideas for companies and businesses.
It is.
Let's let the world know that we're here, and that's what I heard. What Lukman talked about, which I'll stay if I can get a job. What we're hearing from the students this morning at the University of Tampa when we had a conversation with the, Innovate Tampa. It's the Envision Tampa. But they're trying to think about how they're going to rebrand and recreate Tampa Bay. Mm-hmm. And what was cool is they were saying they recognize it's going to come from the students. And so they said to the students, "What can we give you? What can we nightclubs, places to go?" And they're like, "Jobs.
Right.
We want jobs. We want to create jobs, but we need jobs." So
they can afford to go to nightclubs.
Right.
So
Exactly.
It's a vicious circle.
So can Tampa Bay through our HCC and all the great things Dr. Atwater is doing, and he's a phenomenal president. This guy is just rocks. But you got Dr. Atwater at HCC. You got again the other universities. Can those universities generate the excitement that you get from a Stanford, that you might get from the colleges in Research Triangle, that will create the jobs that they're creating? I mean, can we do the same thing here?
Slowly.
Right.
Absolutely, but the idea with educational institutions is they can't be islands of education.
Right.
They are feeders to the system. They are feeders of talent, and they are feeders of research. And we talk about universities being great hubs of research. It doesn't help the economy if it sits on a shelf.
Right.
So I don't care how many patents you have.
Right.
I care about how many products have come from the research that you've invested in.
I mean, the interesting thing, too, like to Ken's point, is if you look at communities that are successful, right, at doing this, so we'll just take the two biggest ones because those are the ones everybody wants to talk about. So we'll look at Boston and we'll look at, like the Sunnyvale area out in California. It's not just the educational institutions. They have great educational institutions. They have very bright people that, come out of those. But it's also the entrepreneurs putting back into the community. So the entrepreneurs who've been successful have to give back to the community. And unless those people participate, it won't be successful. And in all the cases, if you look everywhere where there's a successful entrepreneurial community, there's a successful startup community, it's the entrepreneurs that lead the way. Always.
We got a bunch of entrepreneurs behind me. Budding entrepreneurs. Many more coming in. We're going to be starting at 6. And really what's exciting about what's happening here on the campus, the Brandon campus of Hillsborough Community College, is that you've got young people and older people who all are really excited about, solving problems, applying tech to government, collecting together to really show the world that Tampa Bay can compete with the best of them. And what we want to say to you and anyone who's watching and listening is that we've got the talent, we've got the Lukemans of the world, we've got the great university presidents who are ready to
college, yeah, we're here
to lead the charge. We got investors and the business community and tech specialists that are all here, and we're going to have an exciting time this weekend, and we're going to have an exciting time, I think, just here in Tampa Bay. And we encourage you to get involved, to watch, and to ask us many questions and participate. Thank you.
You forgot to tell the folks that this is continuously flowing through 24 hours, round the
You
clock.
got this? Okay, this is the shirt, and it will go straight.
Yeah.
From 6 o'clock Friday. I assume that everyone watching kind of knows how the hackathon works, but you might not.
You want to say it over and over again.
It is going to go non-stop. They will not sleep. They'll be drinking Red Bull.
All right.
And staying
and eating
up
a lot
and
of sugar.
Eating a lot of sugar, but they'll be here. Thank you, Dr. Sutter. I do appreciate that. They'll be
Absolutely.
going straight. These guys aren't leaving. The TV guys are. You're not. Okay. He's leaving. Okay.
He's leaving.
Okay. No, they're staying. No one leaves. No one gets to leave this room.
Okay.
And we got our county administrator who just walked in, and the head of finance. We're going to ask him for some more money.
Good timing.
Yeah, good, excellent timing. That's right. But this is going to be. How you doing? You pumped? Yeah, I'm real pumped up. This is our county administrator, Mr. Merrill, Mike Merrill.
Mike.
Yeah.
And we have another event coming up.
What's that event? We got lots of events. Exactly.
We do.
Ignite Tampa Bay, where in 20 slides, in 5 minutes, you're going to see idea people, entrepreneurs, thought leaders who are going to speak and excite people about what is going on in Tampa Bay. This is an event that takes place all over the
world. All
over the world.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's going to be happening in Tampa.
At the Tampa Theater.
And that's going to be this month, right?
On the 25th of April.
On the 25th.
Right.
Yep.
That's right. When does it start? So what time?
It'll actually, the doors open at 5:30, and we'll be starting, I think it's 6 or 6:30, ignitetampa.org. And you can buy tickets, check it out, and Mark Sharp will be speaking at the event.
All
too.
right.
That's right.
He's one of the presenters.
Yeah, that's going to really just draw them in.
You want to see him sweat.
That's right. It'll be good.
It's worth the price of admission just for that.
Just to watch, you're going to see a lot of flop sweat right here as I try to
throw in
keep.
a hat for them too.
Yeah. You do get a hat. I mean, I get
All right.
you'll get a hat, and it's a great opportunity as well. There's a lot of. What's so cool is that there's so many things happening right here in Tampa Bay that are tied into our tech community. And the one thing that the hashtag EDI2 is all about is really trying to lift up the events. I mean, I met Joy Randall at a bar camp.
Yep.
It was bar camp, code camp, or was it just bar camp?
Both together.
Both, yeah. It was bar camp at the University of South Florida. And we talked about the fact that we need to have a lot of events. We need to have 5 events, We have 5 minutes. Okay, we need to have.
We have way more than 5
I know.
events.
We got a lot of events.
We need to have a lot of events, a lot of activity, and so EDI2 is going to help promote some of those events and activities. We're going to have people that will be at Ignite, MediFuture 2023. We talked about Bar Camp and Co-Camp, which are coming. Health Camp's coming up.
Yep.
When's Health Camp?
July?
Health Camp's in July, and Bar Camp this year is September 28th at USF.
And part of what I'm trying to do, we're trying to do, is to create an environment or I don't even want to call it a web page, but a place where everybody can put all the things that they're involved in that tie into this together so that you can go to one spot and get your information and be able to know what's happening in Tampa Bay. Because one of the things that just blew me away was how much stuff is going on in Tampa Bay. I mean, look, Ben, when you do your hackathon, now, are you doing monthly hackathons at USF?
So every semester.
Every semester. So when will your next hackathon be out at USF? In the fall.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, from the hackathon, the last one that I went to, I got to meet Luis Baptista, who started a company called End and Up. Mm-hmm. And he's found funding, and he's hard at work trying to get that company off the ground, and I'm sure they're going to do really well.
Yeah, that's it. They have a pretty cool idea, so.
Now, are you ready to start a company?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
How about build a product?
There
That's the
you
first
go.
step right there.
That's good. We're good with that.
Sure.
Well,
And we got the robot camps going on here at the campus.
What's the robot
summer,
camp?
Or robotic camps?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, great idea. We're big into science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and as part of that effort to get very young people interested in the sciences and math and robotics, we do week-long robot camps for young kids, middle school kids.
out here?
Out here in the Brandon campus at our engineering
You have a good turnout?
lab. We have a great turnout. We do 6 one-week
Wow.
camps, and they all get filled.
Oh, wow.
And we are doing a camp just for young girls. This is the second year we run that, very successful. We participate with USF. We do the Electricon, electric car races here, and we have a team of students that have built their own car, and they compete against USF and their electric car. Yeah, we just.
That is so cool.
Yeah, it is all very cool.
There's more things than we have time to discuss, but we'll be here all weekend. If you want to see Dr. Soto, he's not leaving either. He's staying here. He's right at 3 o'clock in the morning. He'll be here.
No.
We'll all be here. We'll all
Send
be
me
here
an
having a
email.
great time. But I want to thank the HCC campus. I want to thank the folks from Hillsborough County and all the guys behind the scenes that you don't get to see that are wild and crazy and working 24/7 to make sure that you can stay tuned into what's happening in Hillsborough County. We've got some amazing people that are just wandering around here, ready to start the next best company. And again, if you need money, talk to Joy. She'll point you in the,
Wow.
She'll run you through the ringer. She will run you through the ringer. You might not be standing when you're done, but if your company's worth it, she'll find the funding, right?
We'll do our very best. Absolutely.
All right.
All right. Let's go.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.